Hey there, Andrew Hogue here at Bloodstock in the UK for 2011, and with me probably my favourite band of all time, the mighty Coroner from Switzerland, of course recently reformed for a bunch of reunion shows, and again an absolute honour to be in the presence of Ron and Marky from the band. So fellas, how do you do?
We're doing fine, especially after the show. It's like finally some relaxation, and no, it went good. It was really short, actually. It was even shorter than we expected. We played one song less than we planned somehow, but yeah, it turned out good. It was very nice. It was great being back in England, actually. So.
I know most of the chat we're going to have is generally rooted more in the past for the band because it's been a 15-year gap between the band doing anything sort of musically as far as what Coroner is. So I guess we should backtrack a bit just for myself, because I've been a massive fan for the band for years, and just every record has just been consistent and amazing and not the same as the previous. My sort of main question is, where did, to me, how come a lot of people just didn't really sort of, what's the word? I guess the term underrated, in my opinion, is the way I feel about Coroner's music, that so much more people should have taken notice. Did you sort of feel that through the band's career?
Well, I hear that a lot, but I don't know. It's probably we went that far as it was possible with that kind of music. It was we were somewhere in between different styles. So it was from the beginning. It was kind of hard to find an audience. It's like it was not like pure thrash metal or death metal or whatever you want to call it. So it was somewhere in between. So I think we went as far as it was possible. So if you say if I hear that underrated, maybe we even overrated. I don't know. Even we went much more far than it was actually planned. For us it was great in the beginning to actually get out of Switzerland, and so we did a few US tours. We did 6 albums, and so on. So actually it went quite good. It could have been better, of course, but it was okay. For me, it's okay.
Well, what about you, Ron? How do you sort of feel about the band's sort of legacy of music, and sort of, I guess, listening back to these records now with the reunion tour? I mean, had it been a while since you listened to your own music when you got together to sort of regroup for the reunion? How do you feel about the music that Coroner's already created thus far?
Yeah, I mean, to me. First, I want to say I felt I never left the stage before. I mean, it's still in it. You have to get it out and to rehearse.
I mean, did you miss it when the band sort of broke up, or were you sort of? Yeah.
First time, of course. If you're 15 years around on tour and together with these guys, and you see them every day, also the friendship. But after a while, you don't miss it again. You have to go on and doing something else, and yeah.
Now returning to the stage after 15 years, and regrouping and learning the songs again, and obviously a new generation of metal fans. How do you feel about the reaction you're receiving now from newer fans as well as sort of old for these recent shows?
Yeah, it's like 2 parts of fans. I mean, the fans and people, they know us from our first career, and there is some new, I say fans, some younger people, and also they liked them. That was the reaction. I felt like this, and that's great.
I know it'd been a while since you picked up an instrument, Marky, because you sort of went into sort of more, I guess, electronic music after the band's career, and then getting back into the instruments, playing drums. Was it tough to sort of, I guess, get back on the horse, as they say?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it was not just physical. It was also like changing the subject completely. It was fantastic for me to also go in a total different scene to experience something way out from what I did with Coroner. Yeah. It was great. It was great to create not just beats. It was also like doing melodies, bass lines, and stuff like that.
I know when you mentioned before quickly about you sort of felt like you took the band as far as you could go. I've seen some other recent interviews where you also said you guys kind of got a bit bored. I'm baffled by that because I really love your music, so I got a lot out of the music you guys have made. But when did you feel it was you'd sort of reached the end of the line? I mean, the Grin album to me is incredibly timeless when you listen to it now, and it's 15, maybe 17 years old now, and it still stands up. And that to me was still one of your greatest releases. And then, the fact that you guys say you got bored, I'm puzzled, Mr. Royce.
Yeah, you know, you have to understand, it's like, you know, from the beginning we were quite different characters, and then somehow we worked together. It worked that good, but still everybody had some, like, his own ideas, you know, and then more and more, it turned out after like 10 years playing together, it really came to the surface that, you know, you want to do something else. You feel like it's now enough, you know, doing a compromise, you know, which happens in the band, so it was just the time. We just felt like that's enough. It was also together with problems we had with the record company and things like that. It was just a time where we thought, you know, it's like, it's okay, you know, let's try something new. We also felt a bit, you know, like the kind of metal we were playing was kind of like, you know, a bit. It felt old. It was a time where there was like a lot of like crossover coming in, and like new styles, which were actually for us also very interesting. But it would be kind of weird if we would start to play that kind of music, because it was not Coroner. So somehow, if you play in a band like Coroner, you also have like boundaries. It's like, you know, you cannot go further than the point we already reached, you know. Well,
to me, like when I talk about your back catalogue, a lot of people still throw you in the thrash metal sort of genre, and yeah, there are elements there, but then as you go through further into your catalogue, it just completely expanded. So it's almost like that genre title is redundant towards a band's sort of style to what you end up becoming.
Absolutely, but still, you know, you see that today. You know, there's still a group of people who completely, totally just into the first two albums. They think it completely sucks what we did on the later years, you know, and so it's okay, you know. I understand that completely. For instance, I'm a total Kiss fan, like, and I don't like at all what Kiss are doing, you know, or what they did after they get rid of their masks and everything. For me, Kiss, I love the first 4 or 5 albums. That's Kiss for me, and. If I see them, yeah, right. If I see them live, I want to hear the songs like Deuce, Strutter, all this kind of, you know, Parasite, and so I think it's the same. You know, there's Coroner fans. They're just into the old records and the first records, and I completely understand that they're pissed if we play a show and then we concentrate on the latest albums. On the other hand, you know, what we play now on this tour, on these few shows we're doing, it's not the real tour actually. It's pretty much the songs that we played on the last tour we did in France before we stopped. And so for us, it was actually the perfect set that covers everything, exactly. So that's what we're doing now. But I know there's many people that think it's much too less from RIP, Punishment, so I understand that. It's okay, you know. So.
Well, speaking of now, okay, you've done a bunch of reunion shows already. I mean, what is the sort of next step? Is there a next step for Coroner in 2011? Will we get new music? Will there be more shows? What's the plan, Ron?
Yeah, there is some few more shows we're gonna play, and I guess there is some more offers coming for next year's for some new shows. And then we decided to make a kind of balance and decide how we want to go on or we want to stop again. And that's the deal so far.
One thing I think it's also admirable to point out that the band's retained the same lineup throughout, you know, the entire career, and I think it really proves that music is, you know, not just the main thing, it's the friendship that creates that. And during the absence of the band, I presume you guys still kept in touch as friends. And who was the first to instigate we got to put the band back together?
It was definitely Tommy. Yeah, you know, like, I don't know, like 4 or 5 years ago, it was the first time he called, and he was like, hey, you know, we probably could play some festivals. What about that? And I was like, are you crazy? You know, we never ever gonna put these songs back together. I don't even remember the titles of the songs. And I was in a complete different world still then. And so it took a while. It was the next year again, he called. And so it took, about 5 years to make that decision. It was also like a risky thing, you know, because if you do a reunion thing, it's always, you know, it can go wrong. It can, you know, people can go like, well, I saw them back in like, I don't know, 91, and it was fantastic, but now, you know, they're old and they play slower and they play blah, blah, blah. So it's always a risk. So far it turned out quite good. We survived, and it's a lot of fun. I mean, for me, it's fantastic to be back playing drums after all the years with the laptop, and it's a lot of fun. It's also great, you know, to see old friends like Creator. I haven't seen Tom from Celtic Frost with Triptychon. Haven't seen him for a while, so it's great to meet up with all these guys again, and it's fantastic. And also, you know, to finally see the fans, you know, who write to comment on YouTube clips or wherever. It's great to see these people in person and to say hi and to play for them.
Now, is there any thoughts of recording any new music once these sort of reunion shows sort of quieten down? Any plans for any tunes? Is the riffs buzzing in your head, Royce?
No, it's not planned. Maybe we're gonna do a project for trying, but it's definitely not planned. Writing some new music with Coroner.
Okay. Please, hopefully soon.
Yeah, see what's happened. I mean.
Well, thanks again for your time, fellas. It's an absolute honour to finally meet you and also see the band live. I mean, I've been a massive fan for a hell of a long time, and listeners know that as well.